It's our second morning here. It's about 6:30. Just getting the fire rolling inside the tent. Really the only trout fishing experience I have is on South Lake and the Boundary Waters, and there fishing seems to be great at first light, so we set an alarm. Hopefully we'll get some action at first light. We're gonna try what I'll call a poor man pour over. Most everything I do is the poor man's version. I got some.
Look at that.
It looks like coffee. Smells like coffee. Got some chewies in it. Other than that, it tastes like coffee. Sun's coming up. The moon is up. The trees are all covered in frost. Current situation, no fish. Just saw one on the very bottom. Might explain why we haven't graphed any yet, because it was right on the bottom. No! Oh my goodness. That sucks. We have had 3 fish on this morning, and they've all gotten off. It's pretty classic lake trout. They're chasing it all over the water column, and the one I had on hit it when it was going down. Good and fun, but it's hard fishing. It's -5, so everything just ices up immediately. Drags don't work very good. Eyes on the fishing poles don't work very good. But it's supposed to get warmer today, so hopefully outside fishing is better later on. Okay, we're on again. Ryan, this is your 3rd fish? And we got a perfect eater. Look at that.
Got him.
Yes! How'd he bite?
Just crushed it like a committed fish should. Wow, that's awesome, huh?
Good job. 3rd time's the charm. Beautiful little lake trout. Finally got one today. Letting it back. I just lost my, I don't know, 3rd or 4th fish of the day. Definitely losing more than catching. But more importantly, Ryan is making some delicious cuisine.
Yeah.
What is it, Ryan?
Well, it's a little hash, onions, and Italian sausage, and mushrooms.
Nice. Here's Ryan's hash. First bite. It's got mushrooms, sausage. Heavenly. Divine. Ryan is a wilderness gourmet chef. What you doing?
What's up, YouTube?
We've been hole hopping. We've still only caught 2 fish today, but better than none. Had numerous others on. Fishing anywhere from 70 feet to 16 feet. And it's hot in the sun right now. Roasting.
20 degrees.
Roasting in the sun.
It's like a sun.
Got another one. This one was cool. We just came in to get warmed up. Sitting by the fire. Turned the camera on and was just jigging a little walleye spoon. That little thing. Partly just out of laziness. And it was fun. I got to see him come through and just hammer it in 18 feet of water. And
That's the second one you got on those walleye spoons.
yeah, the walleye spoons are doing good for the trout. And then he got off, and I rammed my hand down the hole. And I don't know how good he's doing after that bludgeoning, so I'm gonna keep this one and bring it home.
Ow! 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 Get him! You got him! That was awesome!
Second fish in 10 minutes. They love my little walleye spoon, apparently. 18 feet of water. We fished everywhere. We fished 70 feet, 40 feet, 50 feet. The whole time they were just waiting for us in our home. This one's got some fight in him. He nibbled it like a walleye.
I saw him nibble it. He just nibbled the minnow.
That was so fun.
It was wild.
I'm never leaving our Shangri-La again. This is where all the fish are.
He just nibbled it like a walleye. Just pecked at it.
Pecked at it. Oh, that was fun.
Take your crappie rig?
No, it's my walleye rig. The 4-pound test. My wife bought this for me years ago, and I think I've caught 2 walleyes on it. I'm not a very good ice fisherman for walleyes. But it's getting some action now.
You got a lake trout that is like a walleye. It counts.
Oh, doesn't like that. Burping. He's burping.
He's going for a run.
Oh my goodness.
All your line is gone.
He doesn't like this. Oh.
This is wild. He bumped the camera too.
Yeah, he kept running into the camera to see what the heck it was. Oh, he's got some weight to him.
Did he look bigger than the other one?
I don't know. Give him a little drinky while we're waiting. We're gonna let this one go. It's a nice one. Well, it's probably a little late to do this in the course of this trip, but we're gonna give a little tour of the premises. So this is a guide gear, kind of a cheaper double hub. We're camping here on Crystal Lake. It is a gorgeous lake. Some relief on it, and we're gonna go inside. So this year, an innovation is that we have a floor, which is transformational. It means that the whole place doesn't turn into a cesspool. We don't have to move it every day. For the stove jack, I just bought some stove jack material and glued on Velcro and took one of these out. They just come out, and put that right there. And then that stove, I can't give you a recommendation because my grandfather fashioned it with his own hands, and it's still cooking along pretty good for us. It'd be nice to have a little bit bigger, that you could fit bigger wood, and you can see the wood that we have to burn is quite small. And it's not big enough, like during the nighttime when we're sleeping, it's essentially cold camping because the fire goes out in like an hour. Anyway, that's it. We've been staying in here. It's nice and messy right now, but very nice compared to cold camping. 2 fish we plan on keeping. I've caught bigger ones, but these are better eater sizes. And we'll eat one tonight or tomorrow and bring the other one home. And don't really want to keep more than that. They're just kind of a slow growing fish and don't want to deplete the source. Ryan's cooking fish. It's our appetizer for the evening. I'm about to consume it. And I think we're setting ourselves in for the evening to maybe fish a little bit in here. For a while it smelled like a Chinese restaurant in here. Ryan made some fancy Chinese food. No, it smelled like fresh.
That turn out
Great. Fresh lake trout. Hard to beat that. You got the secret that lake trout love the shallow.
It's a new strategy. Foolproof.
Well, we're 7 miles into the wilderness. It's a great feeling. Sometimes it's a little daunting. If you want to get out, you gotta hike 7 miles, or ski, or snowshoe 7 miles. Nothing like being 7 miles into the woods to make you miss your family. You know that before you see them, you have a lot of things to do.
Long ways to go.
A lot of ground to cover, so it's best just not even to think about it. And so Ryan and I have been winter camping since our freshman year of college in 2006. We came up with this term called the contagion. We have more often than not left winter camping trips earlier than planned, because the contagion comes in that we could leave that night.
It could be warm.
And get out. Yeah. Usually it sets in around like 2 o'clock. This is especially when we were cold camping, so no hot tent. We're going to leave the next morning. Do we want to spend one more night in our freezing sleeping bags, or we could just hike out now? So just
to get to that warm vehicle.
Many times we set off, at 5 p.m. at night, and then got to our cars at whatever, 8 o'clock at night, sometimes 10 o'clock at night. We can't really do that this trip though. I'm sure if we really wanted to, we could make the 7 miles in one shot, but doing it in 2 shots was a lot of work. Our first trip, we did have a hot tent, an old 70s canvas tent. We didn't have snowshoes. We didn't have a map. our friends went in the ditch on the way. So we got there at like 11 o'clock. We set out at midnight to Alton Lake out of Sawbill Lake. Back then, we didn't know that you could camp just on the ice. So we thought we needed to find a campsite, and we didn't have a map of the campsites. And it's a giant lake. We just wandered for hours until we found one.
It's true.
We finally, I think, went to bed at like 4 in the morning. And our friends, 2 of the people with, decided smartly that they were just going to sleep in the parking lot that night and then hike in the next day. And they had snowshoes, and it took them like an hour to get to where we were. It took us 4 hours of wandering and no snowshoes. We also brought like an ice auger, a giant ice chisel, a small ice chisel. We brought so much stuff. And after that trip, it's mostly been just Ryan and I because no one else wants to winter camp. So then every year in college we went. We had this idiotic plan to do the Frost River Loop, which is approximately 30 miles and full of a river.
A
beaver hell river, yeah. We would have died. So 2 years in a row we made it to Cherokee Lake out of Sawbill. And we didn't fish back then because we didn't have the equipment.
We would just hike all day till exhaustion. Come a long way since then, Tom.
Yeah. We were in a heated shelter with fishing gear. And then we stopped for several years because basically it sucked, like just hiking and no hot tent. I mean, it had its appeal, but we were out of college then and and Ryan was living all over the place. And then I caught a lake trout bug. I wanted lake trout. And we went on one trip in the Boundary Waters and in the summertime and caught nothing. And that's when it struck me that we should go ice fishing for lake trout because I think it's generally considered easier. And that's what we did. So we've been going to South Lake the last, I think, 6 years in a row. And this is our first year doing Crystal. And this year the stars just aligned. It's the right conditions. Hopefully they stay the right conditions for the way out because it's a long ways. A lot of people are like, why the heck would you go winter camping? And I kind of frame it like every activity or endeavor in life has a pain and pleasure index. And if the pleasure is more than the pain, then it's probably worthwhile. For me, the winter camping pleasure index, at least if we're talking about like recreation, there's probably other more meaningful things in life like family and children and God. But the pleasure index for recreation, winter camping for me, is a solid 8. And the pain is probably a 7.5. But the thing is, when
it's
you're
real close, huh?
Yeah, when you're not winter camping, you don't remember the pain. So you're remembering an 8 pleasure.
There's a period of time though that it takes before it.
Yeah, the post trip, you're usually in a winter camping funk and you never want to go again. And then the way we say it is that we'll call each other up and say my winter camping spirits have returned. Because I'm just remembering the 8 pleasure that I derived from that last trip. And I forgot the 7.5 pain. And so like for this trip, we will spend a significant portion of 4 days snowshoeing and skiing to get to a lake where we'll have fished for a day and a half. That's kind of wild. Maybe the index will be
I do it for
reversed.
Reason, I think. Because there's a lot of pleasure, but I also like the thrill of pushing myself and...
But that's part of the pleasure. The adventure side. That's one of the reasons. I mean, we made it to this lake that we wanted to make it to for years.
I wouldn't necessarily qualify that as being
Pleasure?
very pleasureful.
Well, in its own way, it's gratifying. It gives you a good feeling.
Yeah, of accomplishment or kind of finding my limit in extreme.
But the pain comes from everything sucking. Especially if you're cold camping. Snow's on everything. You're covered in snow. You're covered in ice. Second you leave your car, you know you're not going to be warm again till you get back to your car. Unless you're like hiking, building up a sweat.
Yeah, it's part of the challenge.
Oh, the foreboding feeling. But we wake up and it's negative 25 sometimes or 30. And you're just in your sleeping bag and you're cold. And the only thing you can do is like put your boots halfway on because they're too frozen to put all the way on. And then like do jumping jacks to stop yourself from shivering. Then go get like a fire going. This hot tent changes that though. We just sit in our luxurious tent and feast. And there's been pretty good weather this trip though. The first night was negative 19 at the coldest, and the last night was negative 5. This is what I'm using right now. Just a little buckshot with a minnow head. I'm no expert ice fisherman, but to me this seems like a walleye rig. And I'm moving it because there's walleyes in this lake. It's dusk, you know? We're in like 18, 19 feet on a little rock point here. Seems like I could catch a walleye on this. But I'm also using it because I have caught lake trout on similar lures before, especially after dark. That's why I started using a very similar lure last night and then caught a nice lake trout last night. No walleyes yet. Today, I don't know, they were just seeming real finicky. I had several bites but they just wouldn't commit. Part of the reasoning why I came in here and started using that little walleye spoon tipped with a minnow head, and then two came through and didn't hesitate. They just got it. And then shallow, like 19 feet in the middle of a sunny day. So, I don't know. Catching two decent lakers in the middle of the day on a walleye rig was pretty fun. They seem to be right off the bottom, so there's no seeing them on the Vexlar. It's getting dark now, so soon there's going to be no seeing them on the camera. So at some point you're just sitting here in the dark, jigging. No knowledge of what's down there. Just caught another decent laker. It's dusk out, 18 feet of water, and on that buckshot walleye spoon jig thing. This one acted a little bit more like a regular lake trout. It hit it towards the bottom, and then I raised it up off the bottom a little bit. You could see the mark, and then raised it up about 5 feet off the bottom, and it just shot up like a rocket and nailed it. About the same size as a few of those. I actually don't know. We don't have a bump board with or anything. We marked the length. My guess is about 25 inches. Chef Ryan's at it again. Spaghetti sauce with some noodles. It's currently 75 degrees in here because we have both stoves going. It's hot. A stack of firewood makes me pretty happy. Last night in our little home, we are transitioning to bedtime, which that's my cot with some Ryan stuff on it, and then he's gonna set up his over there. 5:30 a.m. The view from my sleeping bag. Ryan's kind enough to get the fire going before I even get up, so it'll be nice to not freeze when I get out of my bag. Got the sunrise coming up. We got the moon going down. It's gonna be a good day! It's crazy how long everything takes when you're winter camping. Everything is more work. It's 7:40 now, and Ryan got up and the fire going around 5:30, so 2 hours have passed, and we have boiled water and had breakfast. It took 2 hours to do that and get the firewood and get dressed. But this morning we had a great time. We were waiting for the water to boil and the bagels to warm up, and you just have time to talk and crack jokes and have fun and don't have the option of being distracted by your phone or the TV. Right now Ryan is out watching the sunrise while I'm trying to fish this magic hole that worked so many times yesterday. Got the skis inside. They were just coated in frost and dry them out so they're a bit lighter and have better glide. But this is what the bottom side of these Altai Hawks look like. This is the integrated skin. It's got little hairs on it that go one direction, and so they bite the snow when you're kicking and then glide when you're gliding. Pretty wonderful devices. And Ryan can attest that they offer excellent loft.
Superior to my snowshoes.
Maybe your snowshoes are too small for you.
No, they're the biggest snowshoes they make. So
never mind.
Maybe I'm too fat and heavy.
But anyway, on the portages, I just was gliding across them, and I was thinking I was packing down the trail for Ryan, but I guess he post-holed through on almost every portage, so that sucked for him. But
good on the way back, though.
That's right, we're real packed down. Altai Hawks, not a sponsor, but they're awesome. Soon to be. Sponsor. I'm open to
that Altai Hawk?
Altai sponsorship.
Yeah, look at that. Sucking my soul out. Ugh.
Brief editorial comment. Whenever Ryan is on the camera, he feels as if his soul is being tarnished. Let's have a brief chat about some of our gear. You've had this sleeping bag, this down Cabela sleeping bag since college. I have had this striped windbreaker since high school. I also have a blue puffer coat. I bought it for $40 at JCPenney when I was 19 years old.
You had a long time.
Some of the stuff I used a lot for a long time, and then now, like this ski coat, it's old, but it's really good for this kind of thing. So I'm afraid the zipper's gonna break, so now I use it only for the one winter camping trip a year.
You're reserving it?
I reserve it. Same with the big blue puffer coat. I used to wear it all the time, but now it's just the winter camping coat because I'm afraid the zipper's gonna eventually break.
You have it in its own, like, safe
Yeah.
in your closet. You yell at your kids not to touch it.
Don't touch my puffer coat!
I need it for the rest of my life.
I remember our very first winter camping trip. I burned a big hole in it, and it was brand new then, on my little propane lantern, and was so bummed that I ruined my new coat, but it's still going strong.
It has like half the feathers. They've been distributed throughout the forest. You leave a trail everywhere you go. How can we find Tom? Just follow the feathers.
I don't think I knew that there's feathers coming out. I knew I had holes, but I thought it was just the outer membrane. I should fix that. No action on the fishing front this morning, and it's windy out. Oh, there he is.
Oh, get him!
Oh, he's scared away.
Set the hook, Tom!
He's scared away. Look at that. The timing. The timing is uncanny. No fish in this lake. Let's see if he comes back.
That sucks.
He didn't want that jig, though. Yesterday when they came in, they just pounded it.
Did you catch him on that swim bait more than the...
No, I've got... Oh,
Got him! Got him!
he pounded it.
Got him! Get back for it! I'm fighting him through the camera line.
I wonder which, Are we free now? Because I'm getting some... I think you're free.
No.
Yeah, you're pulling it up and I'm pulling it up at the same time.
No, I feel him still.
I like that shot.
I know, it's right up my crotch. See that? Want me to... Oh, we're both fighting him.
Oh, no.
I can feel his every movement.
Oh, no. Oh, I thought he came off.
Oh, he's pulling out. He's pulling out camera line. Look at he's pulling out camera line.
I don't know. This is a nicer one. I don't want to eat it, but I don't know what kind of
Make soup of it?
extraction system we're going to have. That was easier than I thought it'd be. Oh, I still got the camera somehow. Hey, look at that guy.
He came right in.
That's a nice
He
little
knew
leaker.
just what he was looking for.
That was so fun.
I think I'm gonna open my hole, send my stuff down.
Get
Were you jigging it or just sitting it there?
Both. All of the above. That was a much better release than I was anticipating.
You caught 6 fish.
Yeah. 5 of them.
Ask me how many I've caught.
Uno. How many fish have you caught?
Only caught 1 fish.
This is my greatest fear, fish getting caught in the camera. And it's almost inevitable because they're so close. But we navigated it.
What are you so afraid of?
The big snafu that just happened.
Boy, we barely survived.
Yeah, we barely survived. I'm glad you recognize that we barely survived. Good deal.
Do you think that one with the busted craw had a hook in him at one time?
Yeah, maybe. Yeah, that's a good point. We caught a laker yesterday that had just a nice angle. Thank you.
Keep speaking.
Big broken face. So maybe it's from a hook.
This is good content.
It is very good.
I'll give you a report. Weather report. Oh! Son of a motherless beaver! You caught me!
You didn't sense it right away.
Oh, I sensed it immediately. I knew I was like a disturbance.
What's the weather report?
Weather report. There were some dark clouds moving in. And the sun was shining in such a way as it looked like rain clouds, which is impossible because it's 24 degrees. But nonetheless,
It did look like rain. We discussed how if it started raining, we would just probably just lay down and die.
I would just let the end.
Mother Nature take its course. Sometimes for me, winter camping brings dark thoughts because it is so cold and you're so far from modern day comforts. One dark thought that I'll share is that I was coming up with creative ways to do capital punishment.
Oh my, you were.
The best one that I came up with, I actually only came up with one on this trip. I don't make a habit of this. It's not some normal thing, but...
You do it every trip.
Not the capital... Yeah, dark thoughts. Oh, yeah. Capital punishment, that's new.
No,
anyway, worst way to kill someone is you trap them in a fish house like this with enough food and water and whatnot to last them for months. And then the way that they die is they just have to stay here until they fall through the ice in the spring. You just sit here for months and months.
Today could be the day.
Until you fall through and freeze to death. We just had what's probably our last meal in the hot tent. And we're going to get packed up and head to East Bearskin Lake, hopefully.
29 degrees, Tom.
It's 29 degrees out.
Yippee-ki-yay! Saka-chaka!
We used to just put the wood stove right on the ice, which is so idiotic. It'd melt a giant hole. It was always like a double-edged sword. Like, you want it hot inside, but you know that the hotter it gets, the more the cesspool would expand. Not this year. We have a bit of a cesspool, but we're speaking, in years past, it was like actual water. Inches.
A lake.
Maybe 4 inches deep of water as our stove just sinks into the ice.
Yeah, a lake of water.
We're learning slowly. It's a little after 2 o'clock and we are packed and ready to go. It's kind of crazy. The sun's basically setting, but we're in good spirits. Currently portaging from Crystal to Canoe, and there's a lot more relief on Crystal Lake. So there's more sun right now on Canoe Lake, which is kind of nice. You go over this way and there's sun, and the whole lake is very sunny. Sometimes it's best to put your sled in front of you. Here's the nice sunniness of Canoe Lake on our way out. Tracks from last time still here. Peaceful evening on Alder Lake as we are now gonna try to cross basically the whole length of the lake. Currently taking a very circuitous path through the slush fields of Alder. We have our trail that's mostly through a safe spot with no slush. Very dead marshes, if you know what I mean.
Watch this pose.
Looks like you're ski jumping.
That's how I drink my tea.
That's how you drink your tea all the time.
Yeah. Everywhere I go. Every time I drink the first taste of tea.
Well, it took us about 3 hours to make it to East Bearskin from Crystal. That's a pretty dang good time. Our plan was just to cold camp on East Bearskin tonight and then just leave right away in the morning, but since we're making such good time, we're gonna at least try.
Send it!
We're gonna try to make it to the cars tonight.
Yeah.
Where are we? The Bearskin. And what words of wisdom did you just share?
Oh, I'm not looking at any maps. I'm not looking at the shoreline. Follow this track.
So the point is, don't let your mind wander to how far we are. Just go on our death march.
I'm gonna use my legs
until you see your car.
Until I see my car.
No thoughts of where we are.
Nope.
No getting a spark of hope that we might be close. I don't even know where we're going.
I might start myself when I see that creek.
The Boundary Waters entry point side. Yeah. Ah, sure.
Until then.
No hope. This is the only existence we know. Made it back to the cars, 8:15 p.m. So under 6 hours.
Nice.
That was pretty good. We did Ryan's death march for all of East Bearskin. Great.
Successfully.
It was a good trip.